there's a piece of gardening advice that has circulated for so long and so widely that most gardeners treat it as settled fact. Baking soda kills plant fungus, mix it with water, spray it on your affected plants, and the fungal problem resolves. It sounds right. It has been repeated by enough credible-sounding sources that questioning it feels almost contrarian. But if you have ever sprayed baking soda on powdery mildew and watched the white coating return within days despite consistent application, you already have the empirical evidence that something in the received wisdom does not add up. The chemistry behind the recommendation is not fabricated. Sodium bicarbonate does raise the pH of the surface it contacts, and most fungal pathogens do prefer a slightly acidic environment. In a controlled laboratory setting, petri dish, controlled humidity, maintained concentration, baking soda inhibits fungal growth. That finding is real and documented. What is not real is the assumption that a laboratory petri dish shares meaningful conditions with the surface of a garden plant, exposed to weather, UV, temperature variation, and the continuous presence of ambient fungal spores looking for somewhere to establish. Rain washes baking soda off within hours of application. Morning dew dilutes the residue further. The sun degrades it. Even in consistently dry conditions, the baking soda treatment cannot penetrate the fungal structures that are already embedded inside the leaf tissue. It only affects the surface environment, which means it is fighting the newest superficial growth while leaving the established colony that is actively reproducing entirely untouched. You are treating the visible symptom while the cause continues operating beneath it. The sodium problem compounds this. Baking soda is a sodium compound, and repeated applications to the same garden area deposit sodium in the soil. Sodium in accumulating concentrations disrupts the clay particle structure that gives soil its water retention and drainage properties, reduces the infiltration rate, and eventually compromises the microbial community that converts organic matter into plant-available nutrients. A treatment that mildly and temporarily inconveniences surface fungal growth while progressively degrading soil health is a trade most gardeners would not make if someone laid out both sides of it plainly. What actually works against plant fungal pathogens operates at a completely different level of the problem. Neem oil, specifically cold-pressed and unrefined, contains azadirachtin and a suite of associated limonoid compounds that disrupt fungal cell membranes, interfere with the reproductive cycle of fungal pathogens at the spore stage before visible colonization occurs, and create conditions on the leaf surface that deter new spore germination rather than simply altering pH for a few hours. Beyond the surface action, neem oil has systemic properties. Absorbed through the leaf tissue, it alters the internal chemistry of the plant in ways that make it less susceptible to fungal colonization from the inside out. Best naturals: 100% pure neem oil, cold-pressed, unrefined, 2 16-ounce bottles, is the formulation that delivers these properties intact. The refining process that creates odorless neem oil strips the azadirachtin fraction significantly, which is precisely the fraction responsible for the antifungal mechanism. Unrefined is not a preference, it is the functional specification. The link is in the description, and given how fast neem oil disappears from stock during peak disease season, it is worth having it on hand before you need it. The application method determines whether the neem oil does what it is capable of doing or whether it reaches 10% of the surfaces it needs to reach. Leaf undersides are where fungal spores establish first. They are sheltered from direct UV exposure and from rain, which makes them the ideal initial colonization site for powdery mildew, rust, and most other foliar fungal pathogens. They are also the surface that most spray applications never reach. A watering can delivers nothing to leaf undersides. A standard spray bottle delivers inconsistent droplet size. Large droplets run off before absorption, fine droplets evaporate before penetration. A pump sprayer with an adjustable cone nozzle and a long reach hose gives you consistent fine mist coverage at the pressure and angle necessary to reach underneath canopy cover to the surfaces that matter most. The Chapin 1-gallon pump sprayer handles this exactly as needed. Translucent tank, 34-inch reach hose, funnel top fill opening. Application matters as much as solution, and this is the tool that makes the application work. The link is in the description. Apply in the evening after temperatures begin dropping. Neem oil on sun-warmed leaf surfaces can cause phytotoxicity. The oil absorbs heat and can damage the tissue it is supposed to protect. Evening application allows overnight absorption without heat stress. 7-day intervals as a preventive in humid conditions, 5-day intervals for an active outbreak, and continue for 3 full cycles past the point where visible symptoms clear. Because fungal pathogens have reproductive stages that remain active and invisible well past the disappearance of surface symptoms. The baking soda advice persists not because it works reliably, but because it works occasionally, mildly, and in conditions that happen to be favorable. And occasional mild success in favorable conditions is enough to sustain a recommendation through thousands of retellings. The neem oil does not require favorable conditions. It works because it addresses the mechanism, not the surface symptom, and the difference in results is not subtle once you have experienced both. Subscribe to Garden Guru. The product links are in the description. See you in the next one.